Yeah, I'm good to go.
Sweet. Well, we made it to week 3, but week 2 for us. Um, we're calling this what? Fantasy Happy Hour?
I think so. Yeah, we'll start to bring in some local craft beers here soon or something to make it intro our favorite local beer.
And you know what? Not bad. Not bad for week 1, but week 2 of having a whole 16 views, 4 likes, and an added 3 subscribers on the channel. That's huge. Things are going up, and there's some exciting things coming down the pipeline. If we could double that every week, that'd be great.
Yeah,
But
sauces alike.
we also want to we also want to cut down the length because that 42-minute video of the last one is probably a little excessive because the average watch time was about 7 minutes. Um,
Nice.
but that's still better than 0, and you won't know until you start. But yeah, you want to kind of recap any of your Sunday lineups there, Taryn?
I'm not going to review lineups, but I'll review kind of the picks I made. A couple of the best, and then a couple of the worst. So Dak was quarterback 1. He was one of my big mentions for the week. He rushed. I said he'd call his own number. He called it 3 times. So huge fantasy day for Dak Prescott. Tom Brady was the biggest bust of the week. I thought it was Brady breakout, but that team has too many weapons, and it's not worth it. At running backs, Aaron Jones was one of my big calls, probably the highest fantasy player of the week. And then on the other side, Derrick Henry, who I called King Henry, was more of the, I don't know what to call him, a peon out in the field. Terrible fantasy debut. At wide receiver, I did an honorable mention, Steph Diggs, breakout game, my old ex-Minnesota guy. And then Devontae Adams, again, huge chalk bust of the week. And then tight end, Jonnu Smith, a couple touchdowns, 80 yards, 4 receptions. Hawkinson was good, and Thomas was good for his price, so I didn't really have too many bad tight ends. And then the defenses were all good that we showed. The Rams were middle of the road. Steelers were 13. They were the third best defense. And then the Giants actually put up 9, even though they lost. So they were actually really good value defense. So, yeah, that was kind of a quick review. I'm trying to run through it rather fast, but
And I
overall,
just want
pretty
to
good picks.
I just want to chime in that my Bears pick was really good, and Schultz is a tight end, great option for a cheap tight end. Actually got 22 fantasy points, not too bad. Um, everything else of mine was not very good, but oh, actually Josh Allen was a good pick, and Kyler Murray. So I lied. 2 good QBs, but other than that, I
Yeah.
didn't do very good, and all my
Yeah.
lineups were not very good. But pick and choose, and then slowly we'll fill these holes here. But okay, moving on and just kind of looking at the week to come, we'll go maybe over into QBs first here.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little shorter this week. We're going to do a high, a medium, and a low priced guy. So I start at the high priced guy, 6,900, Josh Allen. I like going back to him. The Rams defense has been good, but he's been probably the best quarterback through 2 weeks, 33.5 DraftKings points and 37.5. Threw for over 300 in both of those games. Still rushing quite a bit, and he just looks awesome if you watch the games. The middle priced, I'm going Trubisky because basically play any quarterback that plays Atlanta because they could have a 30-point lead and still lose. So yeah, he's put up 24.3 and 15.2. He's playing Atlanta. Just play him. Uh, and then if you go to the low price, I actually like the counterbalance in the same game of going to Jared Goff, who's looked really good. And they're playing the Bills, who is a tough defense, but he's put up 11.5 and 24 DraftKings points, but he's just looked a lot better than I would have expected. Overall, he's hitting his targets. Match him with Cooper Kupp this week. The Bills are really bad in the middle. They tend to give up more of the slot or tight end position like Gesicki did last week. So kind of look there if you're going to stack them with anybody in that game. How about you, Justin? Do you have any QBs you like?
Again, I think you could probably be okay taking Goff or Josh Allen. That game will probably be, I would think, more of a shootout than Rams defense doing anything. Other than that, I'm kind of interested to see what goes on in the Denver game, just because Locke is out. Will one of their guys put the team on their back and do something, or will Tom Brady have his week this week that you thought he would have last week? And then other than that, the big one I like is the
Yeah.
Monday Nighter, which is the Chiefs Ravens, because I think that one will be bananas. But I know that's not in this one, so I'll just keep my mouth shut for that.
Wait for the showdown episode, Justin. Yeah. Yeah, we'll move to running backs, I think. So I did the same idea, high, medium, low, and I actually have a Denver guy in here. But my top play is going to be Jonathan Taylor at 7,000 for Indianapolis. He got 26 touches last week, 26 rushes, sorry, and he's been targeted lots in the passing game, about 8 targets over 2 weeks. And I watched most of that Vikings game being a Vikings fan, and he is getting the ball a lot. So I see him just upticking week over week. And then in the middle is where I like a Denver guy, actually, but Melvin Gordon, the third, is 5,800 against a Tampa Bay defense that is known to be best against the run. But he's been getting 15 and 19 rushes. I think they're using him kind of in that bell cow role again, and I think he will go way under owned in that area. There's quite a few running backs around him people are going to jump to. And then my low end is going to go back to the well from last week in McKinnon, Jerick McKinnon from San Fran, with the potential of Mostert out. I mean, watch that news. But I think regardless, I think Mostert sees a tick back. They just are best running the ball. I don't know why San Francisco doesn't just run every play. They seem to not like to do that and throw every once in a while and watch their quarterback throw interceptions, especially their backup. But I think going back to Jerick, especially if Mostert doesn't start, is a lock for me at that price, 4,900.
Yeah, the this week I think I'm interested to see what the Giants do with no Saquon Barkley, and I think Dion Lewis is probably their next stop, right?
Yeah.
That could be interesting. I really
Yeah,
also
he is. Yeah.
obviously I'm still a big fan of Jerick McKinnon. He still had a pretty good week last week, considering thankfully that Mostert and him both Mostert got the big rush at the start and then got everyone their points and then got hurt. And then McKinnon ended up, I think, put up 14 fantasy points too, which wasn't that bad. But the other one I'm interested in that I think will be a good play, hope penning the price, would be Leonard Fournette. He had quite the game last week, and playing against Denver this week, we could see a lot of running from him, I think. So I think that one's one to also, depending on the price, again, he's only 4,800 last week, but that could be a good sneaky pick.
Yeah, I would watch with him. He didn't play as many snaps. All I would preface with that is that he busted one big run last week that got him the majority of that fantasy output. But he wasn't seeing the field as much as maybe we would like. But I do like it as a sneaky kind of play in that game because I could see Tampa running away with that one a little bit. Yeah. So move into the wide receiver pool here, and my high price guy is DK Metcalf. He's not that high. I was kind of struggling with the high tier wide receiver compared to last week. There were so many guys to pick from, and it feels like this week all those guys got hurt, and you're looking down a bit. But that Sunday nighter, DK Metcalf was up against the defensive MVP last year and still scored a touchdown, almost put up 100. He might have even put up 100 by the end of that game, but he looked awesome. He was basically running by, I'm trying to come up with his name, but it's not coming to me. Stephon Gilmore on the corner position. And I don't know, he's got 8 and 6 targets. He's catching a TD a game on average so far. I just can't see him having a bad game here up against Dallas. And this is a game that I think will be high owned again. Super shootout again, probably expected. And then my middle of the road wide receiver actually comes from that game as well, and CeeDee Lamb from Dallas. He's seeing more targets than Amari Cooper last game, I believe. I think they're close, but I think he saw like one more. And he had 10.9 DraftKings points the first game and 20.5 in the second game, 6 and 9 targets. Putting up 106 yards in this last game on Sunday. I mean, that was a big high shootout game, but he seems to be getting a lot more as the secondary receiver there, and you're probably not going to get your best cover guy on him. And Shaquille Griffin there for Seattle, who will probably be on Cooper, so that should help. And then on the low end, I think it's Keneal Harry. I don't know how to say his first name for the Patriots. They get Vegas, who I'm watching a bit of the Monday Nighter right now, and Keneal Harry got a lot of looks from Cam Newton there, and seems like there's nobody else other than Edelman, but Edelman rides the slot, so when you got an outside guy who can kind of run routes and and get those deep plays, I think that's N'Keal Harry. He had 12 targets against Seattle, which is huge target share for that team, and he's only $4,200, 4,200 on DraftKings, so super cheap if you want to go that route. Yeah, do you have any wide receivers that jump off the page?
I mean, I'm still waiting for Will Fuller to get targeted more than a couple times in a game. And now that he hasn't happened the last 2 games, I'm expecting his price to drop this week. And in that case, I think that might be an okay pick. They are playing the Steelers, so I mean, Texans 0-2. Let's see what happens. I think they should win this week, but Steelers defense is really good, and their offense isn't really firing right now. So that's a risky one, but I do like it. Another one is, I think you said John Brown, right?
Nope.
Okay, I think he'll be okay with, especially. Actually, I think there's a few receivers on the Buffalo team, but for whatever reason, I don't know why I picked him. I thought it was a good pick.
It's actually a smart play because I think Diggs will get all the ownership because of the automatic look last week to see he went for 130.
And then this one's kind of moving into my tight end pick, but if Shepard's out on the Giants, I think hopefully you'll see Engram get a few more targets, and that might be a nice little pickup on the tight end. But we'll see a big. I think we'll see a price fluctuation this week, and who's getting what price high, who's getting price low, especially with the tight ends. But then again, I'm not really 100% sure with DraftKings pricing format, but that'd be my guess.
Yeah. Do you want me to jump into my tight ends then? Anybody else? Okay, I went high. I went back to the well with Jonnu Smith. I think it's another good game, and they're going up against my team. But my team's defense looks like you can pretty much throw to anybody in that secondary. They look horrible. I would target anybody against Minnesota. The run defense still looked not bad. They weren't giving up a ton to Taylor, but Taylor just got enough usage. But I do like Jonnu again. He runs the middle of the field. He looks just good again. He had 24 points last week, and it seems like Tannehill's throwing a lot more this season, and I like that. So the Tennessee offense, a good way to get away from Henry is to actually go to their passing, especially in the early parts of the season. The end of the season tends to be Henry's season because he just wears defenses down near the end of the year with being such a big body. So I like that. And then Sample, Drew Sample, I think is his name for Cincinnati. Uzoma went out. He's
3,500 last week.
Yeah, he was 2,500. But he only got that usage because Uzoma got hurt and carted off, and now Uzoma's out for the season with an Achilles injury. So you saw when he came into the game there last week in Cincy that he just got the ball. I think what's the quarterback's name there? Joe Burrow just likes his tight ends, and I think you're going to see a lot of checkdowns to him. And it seems like they always give the ball to the tight end. There's been a touchdown, I think, for Uzoma in both their first 2 games. So now Drew Sample's basically filling that role. So I like that. And then if you want, I'll just roll right into defenses. On the high end, I like the Patriots to have a bit of a comeback game after getting kind of dismantled for 35 points by Russell Wilson, who is clearly the best quarterback in the league. He just looks awesome throwing the ball to every receiver in that game. But I think they bounce back against Vegas, who's not quite the same caliber. I mean, Carr is looking decent in the game that's on the TV right now. He has been throwing pretty well on the Saints D, who I expected to have a big game, but doesn't look too great right now. But so I think, again, you can go to the Patriots with a big game that probably is low scoring from Vegas' standpoint. On the low end, I like going back to the Giants against San Francisco. We might see Nick Mullins in this game. I haven't heard the news on Garoppolo yet, but injury-riddled San Fran team who Mullins came in, and I want to say he got picked once and then got sacked 2 or 3 times. So that was against the Jets, and now the Giants defense that looks quite good week over week so far. I think go to them in a matchup. They could be getting a backup quarterback who's susceptible to giving up 1 or 2 possibly picks. So
you did. I mean, you covered most of the good points on the popular tight ends, but I'm going to go a little bit off the board here. I'm going big and inserting Mo Alley Cox into the lineups. They're playing the Jets this week, and that could be. I mean, anytime you play the Jets, you could be up 50 points and no one would be surprised. So I'm going big on him, and then of course everyone hates on him. Maybe not hates. Everyone looks over him. Darren Fells or Jordan Akins. Deshaun Watson keeps fighting both ways. They're both picking up touches or catches, and those are my two off the board picks. If you need a cheap tight end, that's where you're going.
Surprised you don't have any big fat Deshaun Watson stacks here. Deshaun Watson, Fuller, Fells. Holy, we're going to get the whole onslaught, we'll call it. Yeah. See, I don't have that much hope in the Vikings right now, so I don't have any home bias yet.
Because one of these weeks they're going to have a breakout week, and it's going to be like 50 points for them on DraftKings and be like, yeah, I told you. That's the only time people in a video, as long as there's proof in one video, I mean, I'm right.
Yeah. Yeah, do you have a defense you like over the rest, or?
Not particularly. I didn't look really into the defense. I just I'll wait to see how the week shapes up a little bit and who's actually going to be in, who's going to be injured, and from there, I don't know how I feel with the 49ers this week. They lost some key pieces in their defense. And then of course, who's Denver playing again? The Buccaneers. So Buccaneers potentially, just because they've got the backup QB. I don't know even know who the QB is. I should, but depending who it is, that could be interesting. And then who the hell else? Oh, the one that I thought would be pretty funny, and I think it could be not a bad play because it's a fail-safe, is the Bengals. Just because Carson Wentz, until he proves me wrong, he's getting sacked like 4 times a game. He's fumbling it. They're throwing turnovers. Pick the defense. He just seems to be throwing everything everywhere. And you pick the defense they're playing, and you seem to get 10 points.
That's very true. I don't have any disagreement there. I kind of like both those picks. I mean, your Fells pick I don't have quite as much faith in, but it is an off the board pick. But yeah, we probably want to thank everyone that's watching this. If you do catch it, we're going to start doing about 2 to 3 a week. A couple fun ones near the end of the week. Maybe throw in some bets with each other, some funny stuff we'll have to do on the video. But look forward to more videos throughout the week, probably a Thursday and a Friday nighter. And yeah, if you can sauce us a like, it'd be great. Keeps that's for my buddy John out here on the coast. He likes that line. So yeah, you got anything to let anybody know there, Justin?
The very first thing you need to do is just hit subscribe. And we waited till the end to tell you, so if you've even made it to an end, at this point you might as well. But other than that, we don't really know what's going to be going on and what we're doing, but we're just going to keep going. So, yeah, thank you.